Hi, I'm Old Sneelock. Welcome to another episode of Old Sneelock's Workshop.
Before I put the engine on the mower, I'm going to set the frame down flat so that I can drop the engine down into the frame. I'm not going to take it all the way down, but I'm going to take it down so that I don't have to hold it up and try and shove it in horizontally. That should make it a little easier on my back. Still going to leave it hooked up to the crane and just drop it down most of the way so I don't have to get on my hands and knees to reach up underneath to start the bolts to lock the motor down. That should work pretty good. And most of it is just going to be letting it down easy. It's hooked. Gonna need to pull it back a little bit. This is where a helper would come in handy. This should be just about right. About the right height for me to just walk over and sit down without having to bend over to set the motor in. That'll protect me from screwing up my back, hopefully. It's still sitting on the bagger frame, so it's not going to roll around on me. Should be pretty good. Each project has its own methods and things that I go through to make it work better. One of the things that I did first was bring out this skill bench, which works really nice for putting tools on, but it was kind of limited. And then when I wanted to wash down the tractor, I used this industrial concrete sprayer, which we found laying along the road on a expressway entrance up in Lansing. It had fallen off a truck, was laying there battered and beaten up, and I had to fix a few things on the hoses, but works just fine. It makes a nice job of cleaning crap off the parts. I got out the big puller so that I could pull the drive pulley off the bottom of the motor. So now I got the sprayer set up so that I can clean parts. Then over here in the side of the tractor shed, I took the old sawhorses and set it up with a piece of plywood on top. Now I got a nice workbench place to set my tools. Every time I do something like that, it makes the job go just a little bit better. Louie's suggestion of picking up the front end of the lawnmower on the hoist was a good one. I'm able to pick up the front of the mower. I'm going to just pick up that motor and set it down onto the frame there. Then put a couple of bolts up in through the bottom. Just enough threads to hold the bolts in place. Then I'm going to pick the motor back up so I can get to the bottom of the bolts and just tighten up those 4 bolts and we'll be good to go. At least that's the theory. And it all sounds so easy. Okay, I'm going to set the motor in place. Well, that's the theory. Oh, the motor on there wanted to drop back, which made room in the chain. So it actually kind of helped me put the motor in. seriously heavy piece of equipment. Probably another hoist would have been handy. Something to pick the motor up and sling it in, like using the engine hoist to set the engine in. What a thought, huh? I think that having the engine hoist in is going to make it difficult to get the bolt started because this engine is longer than the other one. I need to rehook. I'm going to set this down, catch a hold of it again with this hook on the outside, and see if I can get a better pick on it. Okay. I'm going to slide the motor out until the motor mounts line up with the holes. I come up a little bit. Is anyone else thinking apprentice right now? If this were HGTV, the B team would come in and probably bolt the thing up, and then they'd do a cut of me standing there looking all smug and proud about putting the motor in place. Not going to happen in old Sneelock's workshop. You can see that hole just perfect right there. If I could get one started in that hole, that would help me line it up with the other one, but I don't think I'd reach up there and get to it. That's the problem. I'm almost into the ceiling of the tent. I think that's as far up as I want to take it. I got to roll the tractor back a little bit. I guess I didn't have enough bolt thread in there. I was close, but I didn't have quite enough because the engine slid back down. While I was struggling to get the bolts in place on the motor, the battery died on the camera. So I went ahead and put the pulley on and got the belt on and got everything all tightened up and fixed up, looked over and the camera was off. So this is what it looks like. Well, the camera died while I was doing the drilling, but what I did is I put some grease on the outside of the transmission case, and then I drilled through it so that all the chips stay in the grease on the drill. Now I'm putting the 1/8 inch pipe tap down in there with a good big gob of grease on the front of that so that the chips from the tap get caught in the tap and stay there. I don't want to have a bunch of chips down inside the transmission. And I wanted to make sure I had enough room in behind this wall to get the tap all the way in. The tap is tapered, and if you don't take it all the way down to the back shoulder, then when you go to start the plug that you want to put in there, the hole is too small for the plug to catch in. So you really want to run that tap all the way down till almost the last threads are into the hole. That way it's at the full diameter of the taper. After all the heavy work's done, the apprentice comes and inspects the job. Gives it a wag of approval. And there's all my chips coming right back out. Stuck to the tap. Cool, that worked. I'm going to use this 85W140 multi-viscosity oil. And that should make it so that this thing works like a charm. I put a grease zerk in there, not because I needed a grease zerk, but because that's the 1/8 inch pipe that I have. And somebody down the road can put grease in there and not hurt anything. They may think that this is a grease zerk that was put in there on purpose. Won't hurt a thing. Well, they don't pack it completely full of grease and bind it up. This is a peerless gearbox. That serial number is messing me up big time. This is the best one. Peerless gearbox is a lot heavier duty. It's okay though. Doesn't matter whether it's the Peerless or the Spicer or anything else, as long as it works. And I got every reason to believe it's going to. No reason to believe it won't.
Well, the motor's bolted up, and the transmission's been drilled, and the tire's been inflated. Still need to do the wiring, but that'll have to come a later day. If you have any suggestions for a new video, questions about today's video, or any of the other videos on the channel, just drop a note in the comments. You know I read them all. Thanks for watching.